What's up, guys? We have some interesting things to talk about today in today's video, but let's start it off on a positive note. We're going to be doing a giveaway. If we can get this video to 1,999 likes, I'm going to be gifting this Update 1 bundle to somebody in the comments, so make sure you guys smash the like button and let me know your username down below. Has some pretty great stuff in there, so yeah, let's get it. So if you guys don't know, there's already been an anime tower defense game re-release in the past, and we all know how that went. If you guys don't know, I'm talking about Anime Adventures. All right, let's take a look at what happened to that game. All right, and look at that, guys. So you're gonna see kind of how this thing worked for that game at least. And that was basically massive hype at the start, and then it kind of fell off a cliff. All right, so if we go over here and we scroll this over, you're gonna kind of see something. All right, and that is, it kind of started off strong, right? So started off strong, and then quickly, guys, about 1 week later, it had a big dip, and honestly, it's kind of been declining ever since. Now, I'm not gonna lie, if they would have kept updating the game, I fully believe they would still have like 20k players in that range. But of course, obviously, we do remember they did quit updating the game, which is a little bit sad because I really truly believe that this game could still be doing pretty decently, even with all the remodels, etc. I think they could have made it work, but they didn't. So now you're like, why am I talking about Anime Adventures? Well, we all know ASTX released less than 2 weeks ago, and you know, how do games usually work on Roblox, right? So how games usually work on Roblox, now this is normally for newer games. For example, we have games like Grow a Garden. So games like Grow a Garden, they kind of, you know, they start off small and they get bigger. Now I will be honest, that's unlikely for this game. But if we take a look, usually they hang around the peak for a while, and as more players find out about the game, it goes up and up and up, right? So I would be expecting a graph that kind of looks a little bit like this. All right, so a little bit of dips, but it keeps going up and up and up, right? So now let's take a look at what's happening with ASTDX. All right, and here we go. Let's take a look. If we take a look at ASTX, we're gonna see that it is at an all-time low player count. I'm going to be honest, guys, I don't think the player count has ever been this low, not counting like the first couple minutes of release and when obviously Roblox crashed. All right, I don't think I've ever seen the player count be this low. Now, if we take a look at the daily chart, we're gonna notice something that's kind of a little bit surprising. Now, take a look, guys. So update day is when it peaked, obviously. Now, look at this. I don't think I've ever seen a game decline like this so quickly. Like, look at this. So it was at 39 million visits, and now it's at 25 million visits. So it had a pretty good update, and then you guys can kind of see it goes down pretty fast. All right, we can kind of see the same thing with the like count. So what this like count basically means is how many new players are playing the game. Okay, if you see a lot of likes, that usually means there's a lot of new players, okay? All right, same thing with this new favorites thing as well. So if you see a lot of favorites, that usually means there's a lot of new players. Now we're going to notice a little trend here. Now the trend is normal in a lot of ways. Like obviously you don't expect the favorites to go up a whole ton, but you know, it's declining rather rapidly. So that means not a lot of new players are playing the game. And then we have this other graph over here called average playtime. Now this average playtime graph kind of tells you a lot of things. Now I would say in general, this kind of tells you how many players are actually playing the game or macroing, etc. So if we take a look at this graph, you're gonna see 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes, etc. Now I'm gonna be honest, part of the reason I think this is the case is for people just joining the game to check the banner, but I could be wrong. Now we can take a look at some competitors. All right, now if we take a look at some competitors, for example, Anime Vanguards. All right, obviously this game is kind of dead. I don't know what's going on with Vanguards. If you guys know, comment down below. I don't really play the game a whole lot, but I want to hear what you guys think about it. You can kind of take a look at this. Now, if this graph spikes up a lot, that means one thing, and that means there is a lot of macroers playing the game. So you can see, look at this, guys. So Anime Vanguards is jumping up to 42 minutes. Now, I'm gonna be honest, this 9 out of 10 either means it's a very, very good update or there's macroers, or it means that real players are quitting the game and more macroers are coming in. So take a look at that. So other games in the genre have 40-minute timers. Now, if we take a look at ASTX's, it's only a 10-minute timer. So what this means is there's a lot of real players playing the game, theoretically, and there's not really a whole lot of bots. So, which is one of the good signs, but you can kind of see that the graph, 8 minutes up to 10 minutes. So that means that as time goes on, there's going to be more and more bots joining in on the ASTDX, or it could be more players macroing the game. All right. So if we take a look at the graph is a little bit worrisome. So I'm not sure what their plan is update schedule wise. Now I do know ASTX and AST have a history of updating the game not very often. So honestly, based on this graph's charts, it kind of it kind of made me make this poll. So I made this poll on my community tab. I want you guys can still comment on it. I'll read your comments. But I made this poll in the community tab, and that is because ASTD has a kind of a bad history of updating the game. So I made this post, and I wanted to see what you guys thought. How often will ASTDX actually update? Now, most of you guys have a lot of faith, and you guys were saying weekly updates. Now, I do believe, based on the graph I'm seeing, this game needs to update weekly, all right? If you're seeing this much of a decline this rapidly, that means that players are running out of stuff to go on the game. So that's another question I have for you guys. Are you running out of stuff to do on ASTDX? Are you already bored of the grind? Like, what more do you want to see? And like, because I feel like for me, like, I kind of just got to get a couple more of the boundless units. I'm like most of the way there towards S-Death. I've just had really bad luck. And I haven't really started on a Kainu yet because I'm more into S-Death. All right, for obvious reasons, because S-Death I think is just better. So this is kind of showing that the hype is dying down a little bit, and they kind of need to keep updating the game. So now I want to read some of your comments on my community post, and let's see what you guys think about ASTX's update schedule. So here we go. So somebody says when they need money, they will update. Honestly, this might be one of the reasons people aren't playing the game as much. Now, I did make some videos on the game passes. The thumbnails were a little bit harsh, but let's just say they're not very upfront with what these actually give you. For example, max game speed is actually only 1.6x. And yes, guys, I had the video proof on my last video if you guys want to check that out. And VIP actually doesn't really give you as much as it promises. So it's kind of a little bit shady on the game passes. And it kind of makes me wonder how good the game passes actually are. For example, the Star Seeker game pass. I've actually spent, I'll show you guys. I've spent 78,000 gems and I've only gotten 2 shiny units. 2 shiny units. I'm like, what did I buy this for? Like, I spent 2,000 Robux for 2 shiny units. That's kind of insane, not gonna lie. So I don't know what's going on with that. Now, I haven't bought these yet, but maybe I should. I don't know. You guys let me know. And I also bought these, and these gave me 0 shiny units or 0 secrets. So I don't know what happened with that. I do feel like the game passes in this game are very, very weak. I don't know if that's making people mad or what, but that's just one factor coming in. So here we go, guys. So somebody says update 1 is actually their last update. They're going to focus on making AST 99 now. I keep making that joke, guys. I'm actually might make a meme video based on that. Maybe I'll talk to one of my editors. I think that'd be a really funny video. So weekly for the first few updates, then bi-weekly. This is kind of what I was trying to say on my live streams. I think this is the best option. Obviously, you can't really do weekly forever. People are going to, like, you know, get bored of the game, etc. And it's sometimes like weekly is just a little too much. I know people comment that on Anime Last Stand a lot, that they update too much. Update every 2 weeks is understandable, but people can't wait a week anymore for some reason. All right, now I feel like this is pretty accurate. If we take a look at the charts, it really looks like the game is declining quite a bit since they're not updating weekly. I don't know how long it takes, but don't get past 1 month. I definitely agree. We kind of saw that with AA. AA took a long time between updates, and we can kind of take a look at how that has affected Anime Adventures. You guys can kind of see, obviously they haven't updated in 3 months now, and obviously the game is completely dead. I don't know why they completely killed it. My guess is there might be some legal issues they're having that might have caused the game to stop updating even more, or maybe it was just too expensive to update the game. I'm not sure. They should update just once a month. Honestly, guys, monthly updates I don't think is gonna let the game survive. If you guys don't know, the original game, in my opinion, died. A big reason, obviously, it was kind of getting a little bit bloated, I guess. But I think the big reason the original game died was they just didn't really update much. You guys can kind of see these graphs, and like you guys can see like massive spikes, 92k, and then a big drop afterwards. So I will say historically, this game usually, like, even the predecessor had basically a whole lot of players around update times and then a pretty quick dip. So that might be something we see. I know other games, a lot of tower defense games see that. So we might see like a dip for a day or two and then it comes back down. That's very possible. I feel like this sustained player count is maybe only due to the game just being brand new, and we might go back to the old update cycle, which is a big like peak. Like when the update drops, you guys see 100,000 players and then it goes down, 100,000 players goes down, etc. So yeah, but even the original game, guys, you guys can kind of see the peak was 136k players or whatever. So it never actually reached what it's averaging now, which is kind of crazy if you ask me. But yeah, most people say they want it bi-weekly, so I think weekly and bi-weekly. I don't know. I think personally, based on what the analytics I'm seeing, I would continue to update the game weekly, especially considering there's not a whole insane amount of content in the game right now, and I feel like they kind of need to add more stuff, because I know a lot of the end game players already have a Kainu, they already have Esdeath, they already have every single unit ascended. Like, it's not insanely hard, and they kind of beat the game. So I do feel like they need to keep adding more stuff weekly, and I think the analytics also show that. So what do you guys think? Did you guys quit ASDX already? Do you guys think ASDX is going to continue to increase in player count, or are we going to see the current trend, which is a small decline? And is that going to spiral out of control like AA did? What do you guys think? And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.